r/AskReddit. Military members of Reddit, what's one thing you wish that you knew before joining? That recruiters' jobs are basically to funnel people into specific jobs that maybe they are down in numbers on. So that amazing job and skill set that you are a perfect fit for with your test scores is likely just Johnny Recruiter meeting his numbers. That there are some pretty decent people, but a huge amount of idiots and pieces of shit you have to be around all the time. That the day-to-day work is a lot less Full Metal Jacket and a lot more office space. Have a plan for getting out from the moment you go in. I see so many people who hate their job stay in for 20 years because they have no other plans. Have an exit plan ready when you go in and work towards it. You can have a degree done in 4 years of service or nothing. From my brother. Individual. Ready. Reserve. Basically, if you sign up for 6 years, you're not out after 6 years. For 2 years after you think you're out, they can reactivate you. Then those 2 years start over. Imagine putting in 6 years, thinking you're out. It's been 20 months. You got a job, a house, had a kid, and you get a call. Time to deploy for 6 months. No, you can't refuse. You'll be considered a wall, lose your benefits, and possibly face court-martial. Be aware of the full commitment you are making. Recruiters will lie to you. If you want a specific job, do not sign the contract until your recruiter gets that job for you. I wanted a cyber job in the Air Force and my recruiter told me to go and open electrical and hope I get cyber because it would be too long of a wait to be guaranteed that job. I ended up with a job I hated instead. The military will take whatever it wants from you. So make sure you get all you possibly can from it. Run. Do push-ups. And do sit-ups. Even if you're going into the Air Force. Don't take the yelling at basic training personally. Even when they single you out. It's not personal. Though we had one swab who was absolute garbage and we did everything in our power to make him quit. He was eventually kicked out a few months after basic duty. I wish I knew that once I got to a ship I would have to spend 2 or 3 nights on board standing 12 hours of watch. In addition to a normal working day. I could handle it if we didn't go underway every couple weeks for up to 2 months at a time, not including deployments. But the lack of being able to plan or really look forward to anything was what drove me to get out. An extra $20,000 isn't worth an extra 2 years of service. Don't take a 6-year contract. Take the 4. Oh, also, volunteering can mean sweeping the sunshine off the pad, or it can mean being the only guy going home early because you're the only volunteer. Edit. Clarity. If you want to work on aircraft, don't pick crew chief. Choose a job that translates to civilian life. Wait until the 1st of October at least to join. Don't join in September. Why? Fiscal year starts 10/1. Which is also generally when all the good jobs become available. And then get your MOS job put in fucking writing in the contract. Your recruiter is there to put asses in seats for whatever branch. He's your bitch. Not the other way around. If you want something, have it put in writing. He doesn't necessarily give 2 shits about you, some do. Most will straight fuck you to make a quota. So don't trust the motherfucker. And don't join in September when all the good shit is gone. Unless you really want to join the infantry. And take it from a former infantryman. You don't. Go push paper or turn wrenches or whatever. You'll be happier and have real experience when you get back to the real world. One piece of advice people always give you is embrace the suck. That is, it's gonna suck. Make the best of it. As a kid with your heart set on being a marine infantryman. That just sounds awesome. You picture the suck in Spartan terms, charging through knee-deep snow. Bayonet out. Giving a mighty war cry as the enemy cowers in terror at your massive brass balls. Turns out, the suck is having to stay late on Friday because your one SGT forgot that he needs to check the serial numbers on everyone's gear before the weekend. Or spending your weekend mopping the barracks because there's a rumor that the commandant might be on base. Even though there's 0 chance he'll be in your room. Because why would he be? Or sitting through hours upon hours of government mandated PowerPoints warning you of the dangers of tobacco use. strength presented by a bored SSGT rocking a lip the size of a golf ball. Caffeine in any form is forbidden during basic training. Married soldiers live a very different life than single ones. Living in the barracks, you'll be sharing a room with slovenly idiots. Living through frequent inspections. Noise when you're trying to sleep. Etc. But the 18-year-old kid who marries his high school girlfriend is given a free house to live in. No inspections. No bullshit cleaning the barracks duty. All he has to do is live with an army wife. The barracks ain't so bad. Every job gets paid the same regardless of glory. Being infantry sucked a lot, but being ordnance pays the same but less suck factor. You rarely see the clerks at the VA due to broken bodies. Mostly combat arms. They all get the same retirement. The one lifelong regret I have, after serving 23 years active duty, is all the friends and colleagues I made over my years of service that I'll never get to see again. Met and worked with hundreds of people, none of which are part of my life any longer. Sucks. If you joined the Air Force because you think it's cushy, stay the fuck away from being a crew chief on legacy aircraft. I'm talking F-16s and F-15. They're both 40 years old and behind the curve when it comes to mechanical innovations. Also, the work is backbreaking and shitty as fuck. If you end up as aircraft maintenance, try and be an avionics guy or a newer airframe mechanic. It'll help in the long term. But be prepared to be shit on by everyone and their brother for not being fast enough, slow enough, good enough, worse enough, and everything in between. If you get hurt, they don't give a shit about you. The TLDR version is: don't trust recruiters, get everything written down. Pick a MOS that will translate into a civilian job, join the Air Force. Avoid jobs that are physical. The military will use you and then get rid of you when if your body fails after it has been put through the grinder. Join the Air Force. Realize that you don't matter and that military doesn't care. Also, civilians don't care. They will tell you they support the troops, but that means they vote Republican and put cool stickers on their cars. The important thing is really going into it with a plan and knowing that you are going to be dealing with an insane bureaucracy that will do its best to fuck you over if it notices you aren't smart or wise to the game. Don't join anything but the Air Force if you actually want a decent life. All that shit on TV and you hear about how women love a man in uniform and it'll help you get girls is total bullshit. Most of the time you're stationed in shitholes, looking at you. Oklahoma. And depending on what you do, you're usually gone so often it's really impossible to try and maintain a relationship. Me and my boss are perpetually single. Largely because of these two factors. Still wouldn't take it back though. I have no regrets about joining. It's an inhuman machine that doesn't care about you. This isn't inherently a bad thing. It just is. But what it means is that you need to look out for your own interests. The military will not. Any attempt to guilt you out of looking out for your own interests is misguided at best and predatory at worst. The "we're all brothers in arms" creed applies to the very, very few individuals whom you trust with your life. Everyone else is part of the machine. Look out for them too as part of being a decent adult. But put your own oxygen mask on. First, broader advice for those joining. Save your fucking money. Literally all of your income is disposable. Your shelter, utilities, food, gym, medical, and dental are covered. This is the one time in your life when you can easily save more than half your income and still have enough to party your ass off. You can very easily save up a down payment on a house while you're in that, a valuable job skill. And the GI Bill can set you up extremely well for success in the civilian world. Alternatively, you can get a brand new Mustang at 19% APR from the local dealership and throw the remainder of your paycheck at strippers. Same thing, I guess. You do not respawn in RL. FPS Doug. You won't be prepared to succeed in the civilian world unless you make the effort to be ready. No one else is going to care. Airplanes are in the Air Force. Before I joined, my brother told me, "You're going to meet some of the greatest people you've ever met. But you're going to meet the worst the world has to offer." I wish I knew how true that statement was. Don't go into it having "if I'm good at my job, I'll get recognized for that and promoted accordingly mindset. The military is not the meritocracy that Hollywood has painted it to be all these years. If you don't play the game and kiss ass, you can be the most knowledgeable guy in your job and it still won't mean dick. It was a very rude awakening for me when I started advancing beyond E3 E4. What a colossal waste of time it would be. 11 years being constantly treated like a child. Made to clean my room, then later supervising of cleaning of rooms. Special classes every Friday. Just to be told not to drink and drive and not to rape anyone. Inventory the same equipment daily. Because there wasn't anything else to do. Then get yelled at for not knowing our jobs when there was literally no training conducted. There is no mentality of service to our country. Honor. Courage. Commitment has been replaced by paycheck. Benefits. Retirement. Marine Corps boot camp is a big stupid game. Don't take it seriously. Do what you are told. Try not to stand out. Yes. You can get billets, jobs that make you feel special and or more advanced than the other recruits. But none of it matters in the long run. Pay attention to detail and be good at your job. That's what will get noticed when it matters. Lead by example and not just to advance your career. Like others have said. Don't let them pressure you into ignoring legitimate medical problems. Get them documented. Most of all, don't stay in because you are scared of finding a job on the outside. You will be told how terrible life is outside the military. But most of those who say that, lifers, are just projecting their own fears. That I wasn't mature enough to be on my own that far away from home. Make sure that your head is where it needs to be because you can throw it all away over being homesick. No matter how funny that shit is. Never laugh while a drill sergeant is screaming. The military is a dual caste system. Officers receive better pay, better housing, better working conditions and etc. You are basically a serf if you go in enlisted. A 40-year grizzled combat veteran is considered less important than a 22-year-old second lieutenant. With a 4-year degree in art history. Get your bachelor's first before you join. Go to medical. When things hurt. Not change your socks. Not ignore it. Tell them it's an 8+ out of 10 on the pain scale or they won't document it. Then when you get out, you can have a valid history and have accountability. Versus the VA disregarding your injuries as service related and telling you to pound sand. Thanks. My dad was special operations during Operation Iraqi Freedom. And he told me the same thing. That every skill he acquired doing his job in the army was illegal to use in the civilian world. I'm trying to get advice before I join the army in a year so I can make better choices before enlisting. Invest in your TSP account from the beginning and don't stop. Edit. Also make sure to log into TSP and switch from the G fund to at least a life cycle fund. That my now ex-wife would fuck everyone on post while I was in Iraq and wouldn't let me see my son for 2 years. Also good God please consider the Air Force. The military or NS will wear off in a year or two and you'll be wanting a normal ass not bullshit job. When you're being shouted at by superiors never show any emotion and always respond calmly. They won't show it. But they will have more respect for you. Don't take no for an answer when choosing your job. I was told 5 times that what I wanted wasn't available. When I finally got fed up and threatened to back out of enlisting altogether, it magically became available. Luckily my recruiter was the one who gave me that advice before MEPS. If you can easily score a 70+ on the ASVAB, you probably should consider going in as an officer instead of enlisted. If you score 90+, you definitely shouldn't go in as enlisted. That recruiter who is telling you it's easy to get into officer training school as enlisted is full of shit. Didn't know getting in. And fell into it, which all worked out, and this might be Navy specific but I think all branches do it. Get a technical job. Get a guaranteed C school or whatever special school you can get into. Even if it means signing for 6 instead of 4, it's all 8 anyway. As mentioned in other comment about not only will you have a specialty, often you get promoted earlier, better quotas, and have some skills that may translate to the civilian world. I didn't take up on it, because it is not what I want to do in life. But I could have gone into a ton of fields as a technician, consultant, or an analyst for some 3-letter agencies. I had a huge network of contractors that I could have reached out to. Which brings me to my last point. Build your network, especially among the contractors. Not only will it make your job easier, keep up with them and you have a good chance of finding some very good contractor employment at the end. Take every school and cert you can get your hands on. Don't fall for undesignated. You can try all the jobs. It's a scam for the most part. Remember that dumb motherfucker in your high school that almost failed? Was annoying as shit and thought he was fucking awesome? You will spend 2 months in basic with him and 80 of his friends who are exactly like him. Only some of them are white, some black, some Latino, and they all think they are better than each other. You will wait for everything. The logistics are a fucking nightmare. Most people in boot said they joined cause they were sick of school. And then we just spend months in front of a computer learning shit and taking tests. When you get to boot camp and they have you try on your boots, make for goddamn sure they fit. It's okay to tell the dudes there they are too big or too small. Wrong boots will ruin your life. Save 75% of what you make. Do one enlistment, get out and go to school. You'll be set for life. Submarine life is fucking hard. It set me up for a good job and easy life afterwards. But fuck me. The schedule, the hours, and the watch standing in the nuke plant broke people regularly. You learn a lot about yourself when you live in a literal coffin for 3 months straight. That you have to go through reception everywhere you go. It is the most boring shit I've ever had to do. Females know how to do a bun before you get there and have your hair done the day you ship out. That they were modifying their pension and going to a 401k type retirement starting FY18 with a reduced pension amount. Getting rid of edit. I have been corrected. It's a blended retirement system which is shit compared to the old format. No longer using SLRP for reserve members starting FY19. Sign up for the job you want. Don't settle for anything other than the job you want. Wait if you have to. You will be stuck in that job for 4-6 years and you probably don't want to have one you hate. If you don't want to stay career, but like the work you do, get a job which gives you a skill easily transferable to the outside world. Civilian is best. But you can go gov't contractor. Things like plane mechanics, aviation, intelligence, although you'll enjoy a windowless building for a while. Communications, civil engineering. That your ASVAB scores will let you do whatever you want just meant sign here. We're still going to assign you whatever the hell we want at the moment. When your marine boot ass is stationed in 29 Palms, don't walk across the sand. Use the goddamn sidewalk. Sell all your stuff and take a very small bag with only one change of clothes with you. Once you're in, don't spend a nickel on anything. Live off of what they give and save. 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 Study and pass your tests the first time and make that rank. Don't get a car. Don't accumulate personal stuff and don't blow your money on babes and booze. Go absolutely as bare and frugal as you can. Don't go into debt. There are scammers everywhere trying to get your hard-earned money. Buy index funds like VTI or invest in some growth stock mutual funds. Check out Dave Ramsey. Retire a millionaire and live your dreams. Catching up after squandering is a bitch. None of that shit from back then is worth a damn. That I was gonna have to kill some Naruto runners on the 20th of September. US Marine Infantry. First Gulf War. War is real. It sucks and hearing Marines scream and fear and pain will haunt you. Navy officer here. There is so much you can get out of the military, but all of it you have to get for yourself. Nobody will give you anything unless you ask for it. You have to do all the legwork to find opportunities. If you just let your detailer throw jobs at you, you'll never find anything cool. Also consider the reserves. It gets a rap as weekend warriors. But if you wanna do it full time, you basically get to build your career however you want. Jump on orders for active duty 6 months. Take a month or 2 off. Go somewhere else for 2 months. Etc. The recruitment process is a negotiation. And it represents the last time that you'll have all the power in your relationship with the military. I joined and went into a high demand MOS at the height of the war on terror. Most people in my training platoon had received bonuses in the tens of thousands of dollars. And some of them picked otherwise hard to get follow-on training, such as airborne school if you are not in combat arms, or even selected all but impossible to get first duty stations. I, meanwhile, received a sandwich. Because I wasn't aware of the power dynamic. On a less serious note, some portion of the people who join will do so because they have heard that women love a man in uniform. The more important axiom to remember is that the love for a man in uniform is inversely proportional to their proximity to a military base. This axiom is well learned and constantly reinforced. Research everything and not rely solely on what my recruiter told me. You will see so many genitals. Between basic training, deployments, and pecker checker detail, watching individuals pee into a cup for their drug tests. I've seen at least 200 dicks in the 12 years I've been in. That it isn't an exception to other government organizations. Minimal budget with maximum paperwork hurdles. Somehow planes and missiles and bombs get bought daily and often recklessly. But if you want a paperclip you'll have to cry your eyes out only to hear that the allotted budget for office supplies has run out. In May. If you want to get nothing in return, you can like and join my Discord. There is a link in the description.